And we did find that when you're using the Bouin's pretreatment, you are actually able to see the very faint and weak to moderate fibers a lot better because it distinguishes it away from the background.
Hi, my name is Brian Tabb, and I'm sitting with Amber Moser to talk about the 2025 NSH poster, Enhanced Collagen Detection in Liver Fibrosis, a comparative study of Picrosirius red staining with and without Bouin's pretreatment. Thank you for joining us again.
Of course, thank you for having me.
What made you come up with this idea for this project?
So in my lab, we do use Bouin's as a pretreatment for Picrosirius red. However, when we did research into other labs and other studies that have been done, not a lot of other people use Bouin's as a pretreatment for Picrosirius red. So we decided to do a comparative study with and without Bouin's as a pretreatment to see if us using Bouin's was in fact a better choice. So we decided to use mouse livers, rat livers, and human livers with and without Bouin's. We then used our image analysis. We did it 2 separate times, one with an algorithm trained to sections that had been used without Bouin's, and one that was trained to sections that had been pre-treated with Bouin's. And we did find that when you're using the Bouin's pre-treatment, you are actually able to see the very faint and weak to moderate fibers a lot better because it distinguishes it away from the background, whereas without the Bouin's pre-treatment, a lot of the liver is just this red, and the image analysis has a really hard time. It counts everything as being the red fibrosis, and you can't get those weak to moderate fibers seen.
Yeah, that's interesting that you even tried to get the image analysis specific to the different with and without treatments, and you were still better results with the pre-treatment.
Yes, we used, I believe it was the rat liver. One algorithm, like I said, was we trained it on all tissues that had been done without the Bouin's, and then another algorithm with treatment that had been done with Bouin's, and on both algorithms, the with Bouin's was still able to better differentiate that weak to moderate staining, whereas the other one just, like I said, everything was red. You couldn't really tell if it was actual fibrosis staining.
Yeah. So no, you also submitted a poster where you talked about replacing Bouin's with different pre-treatment options. Are you looking at that same thing for Picrosirius red?
We are, yes. So we plan to take these same samples as well as others, hopefully. And since in our other poster we had decided that citric acid pH 4 and grams iodine with a pH of 4 could be replaced with Bouin's in the trichrome air step, we're hoping to use those two in this Picrosirius red for the mordant or the pre-treatment, and thus get rid of the Bouin's for this as well. We're also hoping other labs will follow in this study and start using either the Bouin's or the pre-treatments of grams iodine or citric acid pH 4 so that pathologists have an easier time reading the fibrosis as well as the image analysis.
Yeah. So the image analysis for the Picrosirius red, you're doing that on bright field?
We did, yes.
Okay. Do you know if the Bouin's affects the fluorescent at all?
No, we were asked about using fluorescent before, and that might be another step, another poster, hopefully, of using the non-bright field with the Bouin's and without, because that is what most people do with the Picrosirius red, is not bright field.
Right.
So.
Right, that's interesting. Did you have any challenges you faced for trying to get this to work?
So one of the major challenges was training the algorithms, since those do have to be trained by hand. And we had not used an algorithm that was geared toward tissues without the Bouin's treatment, because we do use the Bouin's pre-treatment. Training that algorithm was done by Hannah, and she spent a lot of time training that algorithm. So I'd say that's probably the hardest part of this.
That was the most time-consuming process.
It was, but she did great.
Yeah. Since you've done a couple of posters, do you have any suggestions for someone who wants to submit a poster?
So if you want to submit a poster, I would find an experiment that you enjoy, something that you're actually passionate about. For example, for the first poster, Bouin's we really didn't want to use in our lab anymore.
Right.
But for the second poster, we know that we have to use Bouins, but hopefully transfer it. And if you're really passionate or excited about the experiment that you're doing, you're more likely to follow up on that, to do more research on that. And all of that research that you're doing and enjoying is easier to put into a poster presentation if you actually enjoy it.
No, that's a great idea. All right, well, thank you for your time again.
Thank you.